Good morning, one and all. We welcome you to our town hall for this week. Kelly is the teacher this week. I want to make sure that everyone is understanding that while Lama is not continuing with the town halls themselves be continuing with various teachers that you are familiar with, maybe some new ones, who knows? We just wanted to let you know that indeed town halls will be continuing past the new year. We will accept donations, and I'll put a note for that in the chat. And if you have any questions, please send them to me. And without further ado, welcome Kelly.
Morning, everyone. So nice to see all your faces. As you bring your hands together this morning, allow it to be an arrival to yourself with this beautiful Sangha, remembering that sometimes, if not all the time, that's all we have to do. Just arrive. Here we are. Nothing else for us to do. So as Eddie said, I'm Kelley Amadei. Many of you have seen me before. And as Eddie also said, we will be continuing our meditation town halls into 2025. I will be leading, as well as a number of teachers you've seen before, Lama Roger, Eddie, and a number of our cohort senior students. We hope to see you there, certainly for the rest of this year and into the next year, while we keep this Sangha going and keep the flow, right? Keep arriving together. We're going to start today with some chants and then go into what I think is a fun practice. We'll see. So Eddie, if you could please pull up the Refuge in Bodhicitta. And as always, feel free to chant along. And if that doesn't excite you, then just listen. So we'll begin with the Refuge in Bodhicitta. Sanje chodang suki chok namla jamchu paru dakni kapsuchi daki jinso ki pe sonamgi Rola Penchir Sanje Drupasho. In Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Spiritual Community, we go for refuge until fully enlightened. By the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom, for the sake of all beings, may we realize Buddhahood. That may be Arrival in Action. I have no idea where that tune came from, but it came out, so here we go. That is not our tune. If you could move us, Eddie, to the 4 measurable aspirations on the next page. From the heart, may all beings possess happiness and the inner causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the inner causes of suffering. May all beings remain undivided from the sacred joy, which is free from suffering. And may all beings come to rest in great peace and equanimity, beyond attachment and aversion to friends, enemies, or strangers. And the four dharmas of Gampopa, if you could scroll up, thank you. Bless us and empower us that our minds and hearts turn toward the Dharma. Bless us and empower us that our Dharma practice becomes the path. Bless us and empower us that the path truly dispels confusion. Bless and empower us that confusion itself dawns as primordial awareness. Just look at those words for another moment. Just read them to yourself. You know, I like to think of these four dharmas as sort of a step-by-step instruction. It's the pithiest of instruction for the whole entirety of this path. What do we need to do first? Turn our minds and our hearts toward the Dharma. Set an intention. Turn towards. And then we practice so that our Dharma practice becomes the path, becomes it, becomes all. And while we stabilize that path, the path will dispel confusion and suffering. And then that suffering dawns as awareness, as perfection. It becomes the thing that liberates us. And so often we get caught up in the aversion to confusion, the aversion to suffering, the aversion to discomfort, the aversion to that which we think we don't want. And I don't know about you, but if you're like me, oftentimes when I look back on those things that I thought I didn't want, they became my greatest teachers, my greatest blessings. And so it's really our idea of what we do and don't want that gets in our way. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the path. We're going to talk about really what are we here to do? Why do you show up on a Sunday morning? To listen to you don't know who is going to show up that day. And what are we doing, and how can we do this a little more skillfully together? The Dharma talk and the guided meditation we're going to do is really inspired by, of course, our dear Lama Surya Das, as everything is inspired by and comes through His Holiness Djim Rinpoche and Tukul Urgyen Rinpoche. These are some just teachings I've been reading over the last week that inspired me. So, and take what you like and leave the rest, right? There's no one way to do this. So get comfortable in your seat, whatever your seat looks like. If you're lying down, sitting up, standing, maybe you're sitting outside on this beautiful fall day, and arrive again. Feel that seat rising up to hold you, supporting you, supporting your physical body, maybe have a moment of gratitude that you have a seat to sit on and a body to be held. And as you arrive, you can notice any physical sensations in your body that may become obstacles or perceived obstacles, maybe a little bit of discomfort. Maybe you need to adjust. You know, we're not the rigid practice. You do not have to sit still and you do not have to close your eyes. You can actually just be as you are, but with attention. So make any adjustments you need, and I'll encourage you to do that throughout. You can trust yourself, mostly. Begin to turn your attention to your breath. Nothing to do with it, just noticing it. What's the quality of your breath? Where does it begin? Where does it end? And if you feel like your breath needs an adjustment, make an adjustment to it. Maybe it needs to deepen. Maybe you want to slow it down. Maybe you want to bring some warmth to it. So even just this, arriving, sitting, putting our attention on our breath, this is it. This is the practice. Everything depends on our own minds and our perception of our minds. All that's going to happen around us is going to happen. And just when we think we have control, something changes. But what we're left with is our ability to be awake and aware and to intentionally allow our minds to work with and relate to that which is quote unquote happening. So our training here is to become used to our mind, to become used to our nature, our innate nature, not separate from our mind, not separate from our consciousness. And whether you're new on this path and in this practice, or you've been doing it for a long time, you'll probably know that there's a couple of different ways we can do this. And one of them is to be deliberate and effortful in our mindfulness and our awareness. And for most of us, that's how our path begins. We have to start out with deliberate attention, deliberately focusing on something, on our breath, on our body, on the moment, and then eventually on what is arising, what thoughts are arising, what feelings, what emotions. And when we're still enough and aware enough, we can see, we can be. But at first we have to do it on purpose. It doesn't just spontaneously happen because we're conditioned. We're conditioned humans. And so we do this with intention so that we can see if we're distracted or not. How do we know if we're not looking? How do we know if we're awake and aware or chasing an idea, chasing a thought? Or in some cases, running from or hiding from a thought or a feeling. And it's not to be deliberately critical or judgmental, deliberately attentive. Just noticing. You don't have to do anything about it. So it's essential in the beginning to be mindful with intention. Otherwise, if we're relying on only effortlessness, we won't even notice. We may become dull, we may be spacing out, but we might, and calling it mindfulness, but it isn't mindful if we're not aware. Just sitting, until we get used to just sitting, could be a trap. So this is, the gentle effortfulness so that we can lean back into effortlessness. Hard to say. Right? If you're sitting in a dark room, you have to stand up and turn the switch to turn the light on. It requires intention and deliberateness. What we're doing with our practice is we're turning that light on. Turning the light on to our own innate nature. The fact that everything is, nothing is separate. But it takes some time to see that, to witness that, to be with that. We are deconditioning ourselves so that we can continue to turn on our own light to remember who we are and who we've always been. That our thoughts, our discursive thoughts, our good thoughts, our bad thoughts, they're all projections of our own mind. And good and bad would be in parentheses, right? They're all just projections. So we're training in the view. We're training in viewing. Viewing, but what are you viewing? You're in the view. Anywhere you're looking is the view. And so this artificial, deliberate practice will lead to a naturalness. So it's like, faking it till you make it. Over and over and over again. By leaving our thoughts alone, just recognizing them, you'll notice they liberate themselves, they free themselves. They come from us and they dissolve back into us. Just in the act of recognition gives them a chance to liberate themselves. Now, where we get caught, or at least where I get caught, is when I recognize it and then I get excited that I've recognized it and then I want to understand it and I want to analyze it, or I want to push it away, or I want to, figure out how to solve this as a problem. And then all of a sudden, I've been caught. And I'm imagining many of you get caught too. And when I notice that I've been caught myself into the thinking about the thinking, I can stop, I can take a deep breath and come back to just noticing. And it's over and over and over again. And when this practice is stabilized, it doesn't become that there's no thought. No thought actually isn't a good thing. No thought is dullness. No thought is spacing out. Because thought isn't separate from being. So, we try to rest easy. And by resting easy, relaxing and attentive, relaxed and awake. And how do we know we're relaxed? It's sort of like that feeling if you exercise or if you've worked hard all day or you've gone for a long run or a long walk, and your body, you come home and your body feels that natural exhaustion, that natural, like, I just want to sit down, and it feels so good. And it's effortless. It's sort of the same sensation that our minds have when we know we're relaxed. So if you rest easy, you diffuse the power of your thoughts. You don't eliminate the thoughts. You diffuse the power of the thoughts and allowing you to remain in this sort of calm state of, okay, there's another one, there's another one. All right, so let's start again. Do a little practice here. Allow your body to rest. Allow your breath to be natural. It breathes you, you don't breathe it. And if you notice that allowing relaxation isn't quite working, then invite relaxation in. Make an invitation. I'd like to relax. I'd like my mind to relax. I'd like my body to relax. Help me relax. And all you have to do is relax just a little bit more. And let that be perfect as it is. Comfortable with your eyes open, leave your eyes open. There's nothing to block out. No need to. Just as it is. Eyes open, heart open, mind open, mouth slightly open, ears open, allowing all. Open and empty, clear and relaxed. Perhaps noticing the thoughts and sensations that arise. Noticing, recognizing, just staying in the recognition, letting it dissolve. If you're focusing on your breath, allow your attention to be focused slightly more on the exhale, slightly more on the out-breath, on the emptying out, not the taking in. All right, now shake it off again, stretch, sit up a little straighter, take a deep breath. As Lama always says, many quickies, few longies, so let's keep breaking it up. Breaking it up. Begin again. Trusting that something will always happen. And all it needs is a little recognition. It's just a thought arising. It's nothing else. Just leave it alone. So sit again. And we're going to sit this time with a little extra attention on some warmth and some tenderness and some kindness towards ourselves. Perhaps towards that part of ourself that when we notice our mind has wandered off, or we've chased a feeling down a rabbit hole, that we begin to criticize ourselves or beat ourselves up for that. Let's set the intention of being gentle and tender with ourselves, with our humanness, which is not separate from our Buddha-ness. It is all one. So allow yourself gently to drift back into practice with intention. Relaxed attention and grace for the drifting. If you need a place to set your gaze, set it slightly above and in front of you. Gentle open gaze just above and in front of you. Noticing that that space in front of you, above you, and around you isn't separate from you. And though you might feel as you're separate as an object within that space, you are one within it. As though those thoughts are objects that are separate from you. That is a mistake. Thoughts come from you, arise within the space that is you and around you, and dissolve back into you, the projector. Like a movie projector on a screen. The projector projects the images onto the screen. When the projection ends, the images dissolve back into the screen, always within the projector, seen or unseen, witnessed or unwitnessed. Like waves in the ocean, the waves arise from the ocean, never leaving the ocean, settling back into the ocean. All of it the ocean, all of it water, all of it wet, appearing separate, but not. Who or what is watching the wave rise up? Turn your attention back on the watcher, on the witnesser, gently. Breathe into that. Breathe into that which is not separate. No separate mind, no separate thinker, no separate witnesser. The witnesser witnessing the witnessed. The wave arising from the ocean, dissolving back into it. Breathing in. With that inward gaze, bring a sense of love and warmth to it. Compassion, gratitude. Feel the support of everyone who's sitting with us now. All of us, one, in support of each other, for ourselves. Never alone. Bring to mind your teachers, gurus, deities, anyone. God, Jesus, Tara, whoever it is that you rely on, lean into to bring you comfort and support and love. Invite them into your heart, into your field of awareness, to be with you, support you in this moment. On your next exhale, take all that love and attention and support and turn it out, inside out, outside in, 360 view all around you, including you. That out is in and in is out. Up into the sky, the eternal universe, the limitless expanse, down into the depths of the earth, and all the way around. Allowing your breath to come in from that space and dissolve back out into that space. I'm going to read you a poem. It's called The River. Many of you have heard it before. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled, from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road crossing forests and villages, and in front of her she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear, because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. It's Khalil Gibran. We're going to finish with some dedication prayers, and then we'll open it up to any questions or sharing. If you could bring up the path clearing, wish fulfilling prayer of Padmasambhava, please, Eddie. Dosum Sanjay Guru Rinpoche Nudrup Kundak Dewachen Pojab Barche Kunsel Dudu Drak Posel Sawadep So Jingi Lab Tu So Chinang Sangwei Barche Jiwadang Sampalunji Druparjin Gilo Dusum Sanjay Guru Rinpoche Nudrup Kundak Dewachen Boja Barche Kunsel Dudu Drak Posel Sawadep So Jingilab Tu So Chinang Sangwei Barche Jiwadang Sampalunji Drupajin Gilob. Precious Guide, one with all the Buddhas of the three times, blissful presence and source of all spiritual accomplishments, fierce destroyer of illusion who dispels every obstruction, we pray to you for blessing, inspiration, and realization. Please remove all outer, inner, and secret obstacles and spontaneously fulfill our aspirations. And we'll finish with a bodhicitta dedication. One more down. There you go. Janchuk Semchuk Rinpoche Makye Panam Kegyoshi Kye Panyam Parme Payang Gonne gondu pelwa shok. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. Thank you all for your presence and your beautiful beingness and practice. Any questions, sharing, comments, you can put it in the chat, or if you raise your hand, we can unmute you. Nice to see so many familiar faces here. Yes, Gary.
There. Can you hear me now, Kelley?
Yes, I can. Hi.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for your teaching. Could you share something about perception of non-duality for me, please?
Say a little bit more about where your question's coming from.
Okay, just in terms of percepting reality, like the idea of the reality we see as our own mind, I'd like to hear more about that idea.
Well, I'll answer this as best I can, or respond as best I
Sure.
can. That may be the question. So, I mean, it is what we just did, right? So the practice of non-duality is the recognition that there is nothing separate or apart.
Right.
Where our thoughts are not separate from us, the space around us is not separate from us. And as we continue to stabilize our practice, that oneness becomes a felt embodied experience. It becomes, we see that we are the projector and the projected. That as we try to find ourselves in the center of space, there is no center. There is no separateness. And so it becomes practice, non-duality as a concept is one thing, but non-duality as a practice is
Yeah. Non-duality is a practice, yeah.
Non-duality as a concept you can read about in all the books, and I think kind of what we're trying to do here is embody it.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that's helpful. This could be a long discussion, so I'll end there.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else have any sharing or a question? Don, I think I might have seen your hand go up. If you do have a question or even just something to share, it's always worthwhile because somebody else has likely thought about it, had a question. You don't have to worry about it sounding as esoteric as Gary's question. Simple questions are allowed as well.
Transparent.
Well, I hope today's practice was what you needed. You got something that you needed. Sending you so much love. We'll be back here again next Sunday, and we'll hold you all in my practice this week. Reminder to donate to the Dzogchen Foundation. It goes directly to supporting Lama Surya, especially right now as he begins to sort of wade into his rewirement and retirement. He needs our love and support and donations more than ever. I wouldn't be here without him or any of his teachers. So thank you all. Love you all.